Business Spotlight, brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.
I'm Sonya Farrell. This is Business Spotlight in partnership with Cross Rhythms City Radio and Baba Baboon. Joining me in the studio this week, we are speaking with Chanel Palmer and Tina Sollom of Uniting People. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm
today?
Good. Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. Now, Uniting People sounds very interesting, quite intriguing, but what exactly does Uniting People do in Stoke-on-Trent?
So we're a recruitment company. Mm-hmm. We specialise in IT, contract and perm, sales and service, marketing, and a lot of the head office functions as well. And we've got a base in Fenton, so not far from here, Victoria Road. We've been going for about 6-7 years. Mm-hmm. We've all worked together as well for quite some time. So, yeah, it's a good business.
Yeah.
And we're doing quite well at the moment.
Now, recruitment companies, you do hear sometimes, you'll hear stigmas or people are like, I don't really want to use a recruitment company. But why, from your perspective, is it really important for a business to consider this?
I think from our point of view is we will have a talent pool of candidates ready to go, usually immediately available. We tend to spend our time focusing on niche roles, niche skill sets as well. I think we take out a lot of the time that a lot of businesses, in-house businesses, will spend on trying to find specific people. We can cut that in half and
I think we have access to a lot of tools that maybe in-house teams don't have, because the cost of job boards and LinkedIn and stuff is quite expensive now. And we've also got networks. A lot of us have been doing it for years and yet too long, I suppose, for our sins. So we tend to be able to go, right, we already know 5 people that would be right, 3 of which may be available. So I think it's relationships and tools and time, really.
And I think a lot of businesses, unless you have an internal recruitment team, it's passed to somebody in HR or it's passed to a team leader, and they already have their day-to-day duties that they need to do. So it takes a lot of time away from what they need to be doing to help the business grow. So we see ourselves as an extension of that business. So we'll align ourselves with their culture, what their values are as a company, and find not just the right person for the job, but the right person for the company.
And I suppose then, from what you're saying there, it sounds like just making that, using a recruitment firm, is making that process a lot slicker. Yeah. Like you say, taking that headache away for a company. I mean, have you come across, without naming, getting into specifics or anything, have you come across where a business has come to you because they have had a complete nightmare in a way, or a horrible scenario where something has happened where they have tried to recruit themselves?
Yeah, a lot of the time it comes to us as the last point of call, where they've really struggled and, they're under so much pressure now as a business. The role's really critical. And it's just finding the different angles that we tend to find, you know, and delivering, really. Giving them a bit of peace of mind, I suppose, and they can outsource that problem then.
And how would you say then recruitment over the years, and your experience here, Tina, as well, how have things changed?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed a lot, and I think it's changing a lot as well. I think currently we use the job boards, we use the LinkedIn. I mean, back in the day, people were doing, it was all referrals and adverts in the Sentinel or wherever else it was. It's changed a lot. And I think there's good and bad. It's a lot of data driven now. And I do think that the way it's heading is it's going to be more AI focused. In what way, I'm not sure, but that's going to impact our job, in good and bad ways, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And I think as well, for what I personally have seen changes, recruitment companies used to just fill jobs where we help with different ways that companies can deal with staff retention, well-being with their current employers. We can help them with interview processes, help them with job descriptions. It's not just about filling roles, it's about keeping people in the company as well. So it's a lot of additional support that we provide as recruitment companies now.
Yeah, so like you say, not just an advert being put together, we'll dot the I's wherever, cross the T's, and that's that. You seem to be saying the importance as well of a recruitment company as a whole is building those relationships, but fully understanding what is needed.
Providing, I suppose, market information as well around salaries, or where if someone wants to set up an office, it might be that we'll go, actually, if you're looking for people with X skills, that region isn't going to work. So there's a lot more in-depth information that we can provide.
And when you mentioned, just going back and touching on the AI side, you said it could be good or bad.
Yeah.
How do you think, can you elaborate a little bit more on how you think that might potentially have an impact?
Well, the worry is jobs, I suppose. If we get really good at AI and then it limits the number of jobs that we've got, it's how we fit into that new world, I guess. Obviously it's going to make our jobs quicker, more efficient, but then the worry is, do we all still have a job? But that's just out there and a bit sort of futuristic, but you know, is it that far away? I don't know.
Yeah, it's such a hot topic, isn't it?
100%.
All different businesses and different industries are talking about AI, how they can learn from it, how they can use it. But again, I suppose there is that factor of how is it going to have an impact?
How is it going to impact?
Yeah. And I think we're starting to see little bits now with some candidates that are using AI to help them get through interviews.
Right.
Some companies are picking up on that fact. So we're now having to do certain questions and have these talks with candidates about not using AI, which we never thought we would have needed to do, or CVs being produced through AI and different chatbots as well. And you can see the difference between a CV that's been written by a person compared to by AI. And so it's these little additionals that are coming into play with AI that we're noticing in recruitment.
I think the negatives as well from a candidate experience as well, because they're getting automated emails back and things like that. So I suppose it's from that angle as well, really.
And like you say, from what we were talking about earlier, you really want to keep those relationships going, don't you, really?
Yeah.
That human touch.
And that's what it is, for sure.
Chanel, coming back to you there as well, and your career so far in recruitment then. How, with the changes we've even just mentioned there, but when you started, how would someone, if we're looking at somebody out there who wants to actually get into recruitment, how does that work?
I think for me, my background has been predominantly sales, whether it be face-to-face, over the phone. And I think if you ask any recruiter, they will always say they fell into recruitment. You don't, not a 10-year-old thinking, I want to be a recruiter when I'm older. But the opportunity did arise. And I do think you do need to start at the bottom within recruitment, because there's so much to learn and so much that you have to take in. You do have to have thick skin, like you do in any sales job. But you've got to deal with the factors of having rejection from a candidate side and also a client side. So having that thick skin and resilience, I would say, is key. I think a lot of roles at the moment are hybrid or remote, where I just don't think that works in recruitment. You've got to be in an office, around experience, asking questions, dealing with rejection, but then also having those amazing wins that you get. It's all part of the growth and development.
The team's so important, isn't
100%.
it? Because it does help with your morale and stuff. If you're having one of them days where you feel like nothing's going right, at least you've got
every day.
A cup of tea won't fix it. If you're sat at home, you do need that pep talk from your team and your managers.
You do need motivation and targets, and that sort of stuff does help in our job. It's sales at the end of the day. You're just selling to candidates and clients.
And I think that comes back to what you were saying before again, about it's all about those relationships, isn't it, really?
Yeah, for sure.
What, apart from then, we've touched on AI as well, but what do you foresee are the sort of main challenges that are faced by, being in recruitment?
I think there's a lot of challenges at the moment with the current economic situation. I think, obviously, the cost of everything, job boards, LinkedIn, minimum wage, all of that has massively changed, in the last, 12, 18 months. So they're some of the main challenges. I think keeping up with tech, and that costs money. AI obviously is definitely there. I can't think of anything else really. There's a lot of challenges at the moment.
At the moment as well, there's a lot of recruitment companies in the market where you used to have probably 4 or 5 big players in one city, where now you've got a lot of independent companies who are all fighting for the same pot of work. So I think
competition is fierce.
You've got to set yourself apart from everybody else that's out there that's fighting for the same fight.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, doesn't it? And that's no mean feat, is it? In terms of what we've got. But, I think the job itself, there's more candidates currently than jobs, I would say. Yeah. That's got to change, and it will change. And I think that's what happens in recruitment. I've been along for long enough to know that there's ups and there's downs, So I think the current status is more candidates than jobs.
Yeah. Why do you think then, and you mentioned as well about the number of recruitment companies, why do you think there's been a boom in that?
I think there has been a few companies that haven't survived this current status, but I think it is lucrative. You can make money, and also it's an enjoyable job when it's good. It's good to get someone a job and make someone happy.
Yeah, you do get really good job satisfaction in recruitment. Like I said, I've done sales for a long time, and this is the one sales role that I've had
doesn't feel as soulless, if that makes sense.
Yes. You are, when you do offer somebody a job that they have had 3 interviews for, they've done tests for, they've prepared for, and to give them that they would love to offer you the job, that feeling's just amazing.
Nothing better than that. Yeah.
It is good.
Do you often then, I suppose, obviously with your network, like you mentioned, and you keep those relationships, obviously, with various different businesses and we're looking to recruit. Yeah. But what about candidates then? Do you often sort of keep in touch with them?
Yeah, candidates can always be clients, and vice versa. Clients can always become candidates.
Yeah.
It's all connected. So, we absolutely do.
Yeah. And I think especially within the side of the business that we're on, so we deal with a lot of IT. So we could place somebody on a contract basis who is very high and senior. They could then move into a permanent position and need help growing their team. So the first person they will think of is Tina, who remembered his son's birthday and dropped him a message saying happy birthday. It's all about keeping those relationships strong, because like say, you don't know how the situation can change at any point.
No. Exactly. And I think that's for most businesses as well.
Definitely.
They want to succeed, want to change, want to grow, want to always be one step ahead. It's there, isn't it? And then the other thing as well, does it matter so much? You've kind of just touched on it there, Chanel, but does it actually matter so much on the size of a business and how the process works with working with a recruitment firm?
The size of the organisation. I think for us, what we are experts at is understanding the culture. So we work with businesses that are small and large, but as long as we get what their culture fit is for that business, it really does depend. Because some big businesses still want that sort of, start-up-y type mentality. Because they're going through sort of transformation. So it's getting under the skin of what that individual company wants. So I think it makes a difference, but we just need to ascertain what that is.
I think we'd always speak to whether it's somebody who's a CEO of a multi-million-pound business, we would still speak to them the same way, treat them the same way, offer the same services as somebody who's got a 3-man band who's just started up, because we still want to be successful for them and find the right candidates for them. So the way that we work wouldn't change dependent on size, but we would probably adapt our way of thinking potentially on how to recruit for them. But the way that we treat clients wouldn't be any different.
And is that the same then for sort of any industry as well? That, any business sector out there?
Yeah, I mean, all the same process, but the culture piece would depend on the individual business, because all clients are different. And I think if you've got a one-size-fits-all approach, that might be where you go wrong.
And Tina, you mentioned just something else to add. You mentioned earlier about what you've seen in your career and how things come and go and things change. We've mentioned certain challenges that are, within recruitment now, which are facing your industry.
Yeah.
What can you foresee coming in the future, or can you see anything?
I'm hoping for an upturn anytime soon, to be honest. Quick. And I can foresee that coming because we've had a downturn for a little period, and that's what happens, But I think we will notice that there will be less recruitment companies, less competition.
Yeah.
Because of obviously some people won't survive the increase in costs, So I think hopefully that will help us as a kind of company, but at the same time the good companies should hopefully see through to the end.
We've got a good structure at Uniting People. We've got an amazing team who work across all different roles, so we're not siloed to one specific skill set or industry. We use all of the job boards that we can possibly have. We've got an amazing back office system. All of our candidates are stored within really amazing systems, so we can talent pool a lot of candidates. So we've got everything in place.
We've got all the tools to be successful and continue being successful.
Yeah.
And is
100%.
there anything, just one final question, anything specific that you can mention that is actually happening in Stoke-on-Trent with recruitment? To regards whether it's certain roles, is there a certain trend? Is there anything like that?
I don't think there's loads of companies that are similar to us in Stoke-on-Trent, because there's a lot of companies that may specialise in certain things. We obviously have got more of a holistic approach to looking after that client as a whole. So I've not noticed anything specifically as major competition of you.
Is there any industries that that are out there in Stoke which there's more recruitment roles for? I know you said there is roles that aren't there.
Yeah,
I think our sales division's doing really well.
Really well. Yeah, sales division's doing really well.
I think they've got a lot of work on currently, and that's a good sign because obviously that's the first part of any business transforming. So is to get some sales in. So I don't know really.
Yeah. It's hard to say at this point, I think, because we're in May, so financial year's just started.
Yeah.
So a couple of months' time, if you probably ask us that question, we'd probably have a very different answer.
Yeah.
But everything's going in the right direction.
Brilliant. Tina, Chanel, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That's Tina and Chanel there from Uniting People here on Business Spotlight with me, Sonya Farrell.
Business Spotlight, shining a light on our local business community. Brought to you by Cross Rhythms and Baba Baboon.